What's going on, all you PPL fans? It's Togavor or Kris here with Gareth, as usual.
Hi, I'm Gareth Soonest, Pew Pew Pew.
And also, if you're wondering, the background noise is the beautiful cars and maybe animals and possibly students of Portland, Oregon, because can't be home because theater sucks, basically, is all I can say. And we open our show this week, and so I can't get away. Yeah.
So this episode might be slightly quicker and less scripted than usual.
At least definitely on my end. Yeah. All right, so I'm just gonna, we can jump right into it.
Yep.
At number 12, I'm assuming we both have Jordan still.
No.
Oh, you don't? Okay,
No.
a new number 12. Well, I have Jordan in my number 12, just like he was there last week, because he, I don't really have a ton to say, except that he lost to Mono and couldn't do anything to stop Mono. And Mono's really, really damn good at the game and has a really good team. And, yeah.
It was pretty straightforward. Mono just outclassed him, as he does.
Yep, as he's done all season to everyone, so.
Yeah. My number 12, which might come as a surprise to some people because he did alright in his first week, but I put Colton in the Osaka Eevees simply because his losses were to opponents who aren't as impressive as the ones above him. People like Chi, who've lost to Ellie, he's lost to the Thunderbolt and Wanderers and somebody else who I can't remember.
Mono, I think.
No, it was the Kentucky Weavers, that's right.
Okay, you're right.
And Jordan lost to Mono, to the Thunderbolt and Wanderers as well, and the Kentucky Weavers as well. So they both had rough runs, whereas Colton lost to people like Evelyn, who, to be fair, isn't doing too bad.
Actually, quite well.
Yeah.
Considering the expectation we had going in, so.
But the Cleveland Bros especially, who's a team that I felt could have been easily dealt with by Colton's team, but clearly that wasn't the case. I think it was mainly down to Ruby out-prepping him, mainly, and we'll go over that when we talk about Ruby.
Shout out to Chestnut for being a fantastic Pokemon. Alright, so why don't you go to your number 11?
My number 11, I have Newcastle United, Chi. I want to emphasise the fact that he has to check his clef before every match, because it seems every week he brings the wrong ability, and he always mentions that in game. And honestly, I want to see him do better, because I really like his team and I like the way that he approaches the game. But it's like a broken record at this point. He does alright, he preps alright, and then it just falls apart and he just crumbles. Him and Jordan are interchangeable in my mind. They pretty much had the same sort of matchups and they've had the same sort of losses, so that 10 and 11 for me are more or less the same.
The same what he just said about 10 and 11 goes for my 11 and 12. I have Jordan and Chi there. They've lost to pretty much the same teams. This week he came against Polly and Mega Pinsir and Manaphy. I don't even think Manaphy touched the field. If I'm remembering correctly.
I think it did. It didn't touch the field last week, if I remember right.
I'm getting all my weeks mixed up, and it's been like a week since I've watched all the week 3 videos, so I apologize to all the coaches and the audience for my inconsistency in my memory. But either way, he still got beat by Manaphy and Mega Pinsir as the last 2 opponents of Polly have been beat by. That was a bad sentence.
Gardevoir as well is, again, he's impressing me with that, but we'll go over that.
Gardevoir's my second favorite Pokemon, so it's pretty cool. That's pretty much I can say for Chi. He's lost against tough opponents, and honestly, his actual play, I don't think has been too bad.
No, it hasn't, to be fair.
But it's just been prep, which be it mistakes in the prep or just not prepping well enough for specific threats that seem obvious.
Yeah.
In my mind, and maybe just not preserving the things he needs to. But I think those are things that you could see, especially if he gets some more favorable matchups against people who maybe aren't doing so hot. You can see him start to pull a couple wins out.
For sure.
So.
Do you want to go over your number 10?
Yeah, my number 10, we already talked about Colton, Shadow Gaming Hub, and the Osaka Eevees.
Yeah.
He's only above the other 2 because still his team, I like it more. And he had that one good match where he should have won, but he ran Heat Wave instead of Flamethrower.
Yeah.
Though, to be fair, it still was hacks that it missed, but, he could have ran Flamethrower. But we're talking about week 1 now, not week 3. But basically, this game, he didn't do a ton against it was Ruby, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Ruby.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And he just it was in particular like just overall this season Snorlax has been really impressing me and been showing it's like the glue of his team and the only Pokemon that can take a real hit. But it's been really good.
Yeah.
And also there's a chance he might have been able to win the game. Or at least do a lot better if you'd have ran Cobra Berry on Chestnut, as I said he should be doing every single week, but instead it died to Aerial Ace for the second week in a row, which makes me really happy and really disappointed at the same time. But I'm still cheering for you, Colton, and I have hope. So.
Yeah. My number 10, we've already talked about Jordan. The only reason I have him a bit higher than Chi is because this game in particular, even though he lost 5-0, it was a lot closer than than the score would suggest, and it was to a very tough opponent. He just needs to step up his prep and conserve his win cons, and I honestly think he can maybe move up the table.
All right, why don't you go ahead with your 9?
My number 9, I have Juan and the Amityville Hunters. This win was very significant for him. He was starting to slip down the table after the 2 losses, and he wasn't quite living up to my expectations, to be honest. But he just controlled the game from when Absol died. It was just pretty straightforward from then on. And he just needs to build from this win and get his confidence going. Yeah,
so my number 9, I have Raikwin just below Juan because they played head-to-head and Juan won. And they're both 1 and 2 teams with similar-ish differential. Like, enough close that it's not crazy. And I think actually Juan might have a better differential. So I just think in general, his game has been closer. Like his week 1 versus Ruby was really close.
Yeah, it was a draw essentially.
It was just 1 Pokemon difference that gave him the loss, which is muy unfortunate. And this week, I mean, he played well. I think the game was more Rise undoing, which comes down to him more than Jordinez and the way that he sacked the Pokemon. But like, bad plays happen, mistakes happen, and he was the benefactor of it.
It wasn't really a bad play per se. It was just a misprediction that really cost him.
It
was risky. Yeah. It was very risky.
Which, I mean, I think could be argued it's a bad play because it was a risk he possibly didn't need to take and could have even if he had no switch-ins, you could have sacked something that's maybe not your win con. So because Mega Absol's almost always your win con or a possible win con. So
especially on Rise team.
Yeah, especially on one team where it's the most powerful physical and special attacker without an item boost. So it's kind of important in every single game that he plays, and this week it went down and it cost him a 5-0 loss, which, I mean, he's basically captain of the 5-0s at this point.
Yeah. I have Rai in 8th, just above Juan. It's pretty similar to 10-11 for me. These 2 are interchangeable.
Yeah, same for me.
The only reason I have him this high was because I like the fact that he's playing risky. I just think that he needs to learn when to take the risks. This was very early on in the game, and it was too much risk versus reward. If he learns from this and plays the risky game when it's best, he can definitely pull off some impressive wins, but otherwise it'll bite him in the ass like it did this week.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. We saw what happened week 2 when he got going.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Hopefully that's the Rai we see for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
All right, so we can go straight to my number 8. It's kind of explained my 8 as well with Juan there. So straight to number 7. I don't know what I said at this point. But at number 7, I have Evelyn, H2 Drinkit, and the Herdier Bremen, who at this point in the season have really been impressing me.
Yeah.
Just overall with their play. This is a game I do remember a lot better because I watched it live. But the Nasty Plot Thunderous was absolutely perfect. The perfect win condition. And even a lot of times we tell people just don't set up early. But she went and she set up early. And if she had clicked another Nasty Plot when the Aromatisse clicked Protect, that would have been just 6-0.
Oh, yeah.
And I was starting coming. I was like, please, Nasty Plot, please. But still, impressively prepped. Definitely the best prep we've seen for her. And just knowing how to break down Chaos's team. She did it perfectly. This is something that we didn't see last season and really haven't seen up until this point. And I mean, she just played about as well as you can expect from someone and proved why she's a threat to be reckoned with this season. So, yeah.
I have just a bit above, so I'll go over my number 7 first, and that's Ruby Marrow and the Cleveland Bros. To be honest, I'm gonna say this now. I don't like seeing him this high up because I just don't like his draft at all. I really don't like his draft. But the way that he's prepping with it is brilliant. The Flame Charge Embo this week was absolutely massive, and it's not something that you don't think of immediately, but it was, it set the match, it set the pace, and it was just a pretty straightforward win for him. It was impressive.
Yeah, so my number 6, I have Ruby there. So kind of like you, coming into it, I wasn't a fan of his team, but as he's shown that he can creatively use the few Pokemon he has, you were saying with the Flame Charge Import, the Chopo Berry Snorlax that we've already seen this season, those kind of impressive and innovative sets catered to each individual matchup have proven to get him to a 2-1 record, which is a lot better than I thought he would have had coming into the season. I love being proven wrong. It's fun. So I hope he continues to. And at this point, I've kind of been swayed on his team maybe a little bit more than you have. I don't think it's as great as some of the teams that you'll see on the top, just synergy-wise, leaving players playing in prep out of it. But the way he's been able to utilize it is pretty excellent so far on in the season. And so if he can continue to do so, I don't see any reason why he can't keep winning games.
Yeah. My number 6 is Herdia Bremen. Evelyn, we sort of talked about the fact that she recognised that Nasty Plot Thunderous was the win con this week, and she showed that she recognised that and used it well. I think her prep is slightly better than those below, maybe sort of on the same level as Ruby.
Yep.
And her plays are starting to get a lot better than they once were, and I'm liking what I'm seeing, and I'm hopeful for her next matches.
Yep. All right. Why don't you go to your number 5?
Number 5, I have the Kentucky Weavils. I believe it's Chaos in the Sky.
Mm-hmm.
I said last week he was a member of the top 4. Turns out not quite.
Yep.
He lost to one of the people who were lower ranked that week at the very least. However, his week 1 and 2 were very strong performances, and I'm pretty sure he can bounce back from this. And he slips and just slides down from, I think it was 3rd place last week, just because this week was very underwhelming from him. It wasn't the best performance at all.
Yeah, he was number 4 for me last week and also fell to number 5 slot. And just the biggest reason why wasn't anything that he did to play or even necessarily a prep it. Even prep-wise, he had nothing for a Nasty Plot Thunderous with the right coverage. And this goes back to what I said in the post-draft power rankings about his team. His team is great if executed well, and if not prepped for as well by the opponents. But the thing is, that play style of bulk Charizard, or even bulk Charizard, which he had utilized perfectly in his first 2 matches, it as people start to catch on to that, and as people have these set-up Pokemon to take advantage of it, like Thunderous, it becomes a real weakness. And I think there's a good chance in future weeks, either he needs to make some free agent transactions to get himself out of it, prep more creatively so that these kind of sets can't take advantage of his team so easily as they did this week, or he I guess those are his really only, or he can keep losing. Those are basically the 3 ways that goes. I think the easiest way is definitely some free agency transactions, as well as some lure berries, maybe some hidden powers on bulkier mons that you wouldn't normally expect to take care of opponents' frail offensive threats.
Yeah.
But that's what he needs to do to keep going. He's still definitely proven that he's, a top tier team with, cool sets like the Meercoat and Milotic that we saw work well.
He baited that perfectly as well last week.
He did, yeah, with not going for it straight away, and he didn't have it. His play overall has been solid. It just really comes down to how well he can manage his team in both prep and transactions. That's what I think.
Exactly. I'm still waiting for the Nasty Plot week on Mandibuzz. One day. One day.
We can all dream.
Yeah. Why don't you go over your number 4?
All right. So at number 4, I have Jack, who at this point is no longer the better Jack.
I know.
He's been demoted from that spot currently, as the Dawn Fanatic is doing better than him. But he played against another top-tier opponent in Ellie and the Accrington Stantler, not the Accordington Stantler. Thank you very much. There were some things, like we talked about before we hopped into this, that didn't quite go his way, like the head smash miss on the Crobat, and who knows how the game would have ended up being there. But Mamoswine was a thing, and as we saw when Ellie played when Ellie played Evelyn, that's the person's name that I was trying to come up with. When Ellie played Evelyn, like, if you don't have a lot of it's like just run more Yachi berries. I'm basically the berry god in my own league. I ran 29 berries this past week. This past season. So basically, run more berries and you win. So
a good example of that is in the GPC, the winner, Bob, just runs berries every week. Literally every week he's got 1 or 2 berries.
I'm the exact same, except that's 4 or 5 berries. But and like, 70% of them don't work, but having them there, it lets you play a lot more recklessly because you know you have that check, and so it'll cause over prediction by your opponent, catch them off guard, even if whether they work or don't. So I'm a fan of the berries. And I guess Mamoswine in particular is a Pokemon, like, if you have fast offensive threats that are weak to ice, just put a Yachi berry on it.
Yeah. Levitate Sugar Berry just in case they have Smackdown,
Yeah, I mean, and that way too they can knock you off, but you still have the Levitate, so you're okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Every week, that's what we need to see. Someone pick up Rotom Fan. It's the only real counter to Mamoswine.
I literally picked that up as a counter to Rotom, not Rotom. What am I thinking of? Mega Pinsir. I literally picked it up for that sole reason.
It is. It's an effective counter. It's a cool Pokemon. But now we're very much off track. Basically, exactly. Don't lose to Mamoswine, and you'll become better Jack again.
Yeah. My number 4, I have Polymac and the Thunderbolt and Wanderers. Him and Jack at this point in time, once again, are pretty interchangeable.
Yep.
He, aside from his week 1, which was against a tough opponent, he is playing out of his mind with his team. I said at the beginning that it's lacking defensively. He is showing that he doesn't need defense.
And he also made a transaction to help remedy that.
Yeah,
lot.
He did, to be fair.
So.
And the transactions, I think most of them were pretty good. Not too much to say on them because I don't remember if any had any real impact this week.
Bronzong.
Yeah.
Came, I believe, and was an important part. Just stealth rocking and being there, so he's not frail. But yeah.
Yeah. I'm loving his use of Gardevoir so far. The tracing the quick feet with paralysis and just spamming Destiny Bomb was amazing.
That was cool to see. You keep going.
I was the only reason I want to see him and Jack battle it out, and that will settle who is above the other.
Yeah, so I have Polly above Jack, waiting for the same battle to happen. And what's interesting is these two are both our number 1 teams post-draft.
Yeah.
So we're seeing them face off at the 3 and 4. What am I doing? 3 and 4 spot, which will be a very good battle next week. I think an example of seeing your team's weakness and remedying it, which is what I think Chaos needs to do. He's done that with Bronzong. Gives him the necessary special bulk he needed. Well, it can also be physical bulk. It keeps the steel type that Lucario was for his team. It gives him an actual fairy resist, which he didn't have, which is important for Sylveon. And when he eventually does play Rai.
Yeah.
Or did I already, who did he play week 2? Never mind. He didn't play Rai. What am I doing?
No.
He plays Rai right there. But that's going to be important. He mentioned that, I think, in his transaction video. So, I just like how he's managed his team, how he's prepped, and how he's played for everything except for that first game. So, I hope to see him go far.
Yeah, my number 3, as I sort of spoiled a second ago, is Jack. Formerly Better Jack, now just Jack. We'll call him Australian Jack for purposes.
Well, they're both just Jack. Yeah, neither of them's better yet.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing because last week I said he was best Jack. Now it's kind of bit me in the ass, but I still think he is a strong performer in this league because he lost to somebody who is obviously above him because we've yet to talk about Ellie. And to be fair, it wasn't a complete cakewalk for her either. We've already talked about the head smash miss, which was unfortunate, but I don't think it changed too much. And it was just down to Scarf Mamo being a thing, really. If it wasn't Scarf, if it was any other item, he said himself he would have won, but he should have played more around it, in my opinion. But that's just the way the match went, and he ended up losing because of it.
Yep, do agree there. So my number 2, I have the team that beat Jack. I have Ellie and the accordion Stantler. who just, showed that Mamoswine was cool Pokemon for the second week in a row and took out one of the top teams, which was a cool thing. And not a really ton else to say, but solid prep, solid playing, solid dodging, training in the mountains, as we all know, is the most effective way to win Pokemon games.
No, I think it's training in the deep, deep ocean, because Steve has tried training in the mountains and he seems to miss all the time, so...
Well, Steve's the exception to everything.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, solid job by Ellie. I don't see her losing until she plays Mono, because Mono's going to win. Mono's winning the league. I said it right now. He's 11-0.
Oh, that's a big shout to make. You already went on the 5 kills for Articuno, and that's not going too well.
We're yet to see. Maybe it'll get dropped. Mono will pick it up and pull through for me.
Oh, true. he'll swap out like Zapdos. It's basically the same thing, right?
Oh, obviously, all the Twin Wormbirds are the same thing. And that's be weak to rocks and die.
Yeah. My number 2, I have Mono, is basically, I think every sort of pairing we've inverted them.
It's basically like whose team we like more.
Yeah, it's
for the most part, unless they've played each other, basically.
Yeah. I think he is showing that he's a class above a lot of the people that he's played so far. Flareon put in work this week, which makes me so happy. God, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen in draft format. Yeah.
I mean, the 2 greatest things I've ever seen in draft format has come from him, so that's why I'm gonna, just throw out these bold predictions. But Scarf Sandslash and Max Fizdef, Assault Vest, freaking Flareon, like what the hell? So yeah.
I still stand to the fact that my no items Acrobatics Electros was my favourite thing so far, but it's a bit biased, I must say, but his prep and the way that he deals with the match is exemplary. He can easily take first place. It's really down to that match between the two, which will be absolutely huge. I can't wait for it. It's similar to Jack and Paulie.
Yep, those are 2 huge matches this week.
I can't wait for that, and it's going to be huge.
Yeah, so just bragging about Mono more, being like, he does something which I see a lot of, I even have a hard time troubling like with this, is he doesn't get stuck on one Pokemon beating his team or something like that, or being stuck on having, a solid switch into every Pokemon. He focuses just as much as having good pivots and solid switches into certain Pokemon, but then also making sure he has enough count for as many Pokemon that he thinks his opponent could possibly bring, which is really important. And I think one of the bigger just conceptual things in Draft League play, and he's mastered it perfectly, which is one of the reasons why he's performing so well this season. And I don't really have anything else to add except for Flareon again. And so, you can go to your number 1 now.
Yeah, my number 1, if you followed along, it's obviously Ellie.
Or haven't seen it on the screen for the last 10 minutes.
That too. She has beaten one of my top 3, which in itself is a solid point. Week in, week out, she puts in a near perfect performance, whether it's in play, or prep. Her use of Mew is brilliant every week. This week she brought, I think it was Ice Beam, was it, that took out Togekiss? I can't remember.
Yes, I believe. Oh no, Gunk Shot. It was Gunk Shot.
Gunk Shot, that's right. Yeah, and Scarf Mamo was a brilliant bring once again. I don't think until she faces Mono, I don't see her losing. If I'm being honest, similarly to Mono, I don't see him losing until he faces Ellie. They have solidified themselves as the top 2 by far, and
they've both beaten one of our other current top 3. So
yeah, exactly. So honestly, there's not much more to say other than those 2 specifically are more or less a class above everyone else, if I'm being honest. No, this is no disrespect to the other competitors. This is just all on the back of those 2 being absolutely brilliant in this format, and I can't wait for that showdown.
And also just having the stats to show it.
Oh yeah, for sure. This 6-0 win with a Mew that's always good.
And 3-0 with Flareon is something that no one has ever done before in draft format. Yeah. I don't even have to do any research to say that.
Yeah, I think you can. It's rare that somebody drafts it, let alone uses it well. So.
Let alone uses it, period. Like.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the Mr. Mime sweep from Evelyn. Get on that. I want to see a nasty plot sweep. Come on. One day.
Or even a nasty baton, anything.
Oh yeah. Or a copy. What you can do is you do.
Alright.
Role play, is it? Where you steal their ability on like a Raichu, get the lightning rod, get the special attack boost, and bam, you're in.
So you know what you really need to do though is you run trick on that thing too. So you trick it a choice scarf, you lock it into Thunderbolt, you get the lightning rod, you set up a substitute, you nasty plot, and you baton pass. I think that's 4 moves.
If I'm being honest, even if she does that and doesn't win at all, I will still put her in first place, just for that alone.
Oh no, I will too. We can make this now. If she beats if she gets if Mr. Mayan either A, BP sweeps a team, or goes 4-0 or better in a match, she's going to number 1, no matter what the record is.
Oh yeah. You heard it here. That's all. I think that's a good place to wrap things up with. Once again, I guess we should sort of apologise for the lack in power rankings.
Yeah,
because
it's been a mess of things, but this one should be here at least before the matches go live.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, if my PC can render it in time, yeah.
Alright.
Alright.
But that's it for this week, and we'll see you guys for week 4.
Thanks for watching.